Power is seized in moments, not hours. The right 5 seconds can bend a will forever. To understand why such a simple sentence contains the essence of manipulation, influence, and survival, one must step into the mind of Machiavelli, who knew better than most that human beings are ruled less by reason and more by sudden impressions, fears, and desires. The human mind clings to the illusion that it thinks deeply, calculates thoroughly, and arrives at conclusions after careful deliberation. Yet history reveals again and again that nations have been turned, leaders toppled, and destinies rewritten in mere seconds. It is not the long speeches that bend the masses, but the carefully timed glance, the cutting phrase, the striking gesture that captures attention at the exact right moment. Machiavelli would strip away the veil of mystery from such moments and reveal their core, the science of exploiting weakness in an instant. Consider the power of the 5-second window. When a ruler enters a hall and allows his silence to linger before he speaks, he has already controlled the minds of those present. Before the first word leaves his mouth, the pause has become a weapon. That silence is not emptiness, it is filled with tension, with fear, with anticipation. The court wonders what will follow, and in those seconds they are already in his grasp. Similarly, when an enemy general hesitates before delivering a command, that hesitation becomes fatal. In 5 seconds of indecision, loyalty frays, discipline breaks, and the illusion of control vanishes. Machiavelli would argue that it is precisely in those compressed flashes of time that life is altered, because people rarely recognize the manipulation as it happens. They rationalize afterward, but the deed is already done. The 5-second hypnosis trick, then, is not some parlor stunt, but a metaphor for political cunning. Imagine walking into a negotiation. You have prepared long documents, arguments, and logical points. Your opponent has done the same. Yet when you extend your hand and grip theirs too firmly or too softly, when you lock eyes with a measured intensity, when you pause before uttering their name, those seconds matter more than the hours of strategy. In that brief encounter, dominance or submission is established. People do not like to admit it, but the body betrays them long before the mind catches up. In that gap lies the opportunity. Machiavelli would insist that rulers, generals, and even lovers must master this, for it is not persuasion over days that wins hearts, but suggestion in seconds that wins obedience. Think of history's turning points. Julius Caesar, when crossing the Rubicon, made his fate in seconds with the words, "The die is cast." Martin Luther, nailing his theses to the church door, seized an idea in a gesture that took seconds but reshaped centuries. A commander raising a flag, a monarch drawing a sword, a revolutionary setting fire to a symbol. All of these are acts of hypnosis on the collective mind. They bypass argument and embed themselves directly into imagination. People do not follow reason. They follow images, and images are implanted in flashes of time. That is why 5 seconds can alter the path of an entire people. For Machiavelli, the morality of such tricks is irrelevant. Whether one uses this 5-second power to inspire loyalty, to deceive an enemy, or to crush resistance is a matter of necessity, not ethics. The prince who wishes to survive must act without hesitation when such a moment presents itself. Mercy and hesitation are luxuries. Control is essential. The ruler who falters in those seconds allows someone else to seize them, and in politics, surrendering initiative is death. The masses are like a restless sea. They must be stirred, calmed, or redirected instantly. If you attempt to reason with every wave, you will drown. But if you strike at the tide's movement in the right instant, you command its direction. Why 5 seconds? Because the human mind can be caught unguarded for just long enough to be redirected before defenses rise. It is a brief crack in the fortress of skepticism. A leader who knows this does not attempt to batter down reason with long speeches. He inserts his will in the precise gap when attention is raw and unprotected. The hypnotist stares. The general shouts. The monarch raises a hand for silence. All of these are brief, almost invisible gestures, yet they determine the obedience of multitudes. It is never the endless lecture that moves people, but the sudden, decisive act that lingers in their memory as an imprint of authority. This is why Machiavelli would call the 5-second hypnosis trick a weapon rather than a curiosity. It is a way of compressing influence into a single decisive strike. It is like the assassin's dagger compared to the soldier's drawn-out battle. Why fight for hours when 5 seconds of timing can end the matter entirely? In politics, the one who strikes swiftly and decisively is always feared more than the one who argues endlessly. A prince must therefore cultivate the art of appearing at the right moment, saying the right word, or making the right gesture that captures a heart or breaks a spirit. It is not endless charm that secures loyalty, but sudden awe. Not constant persuasion that ensures obedience, but decisive command at the right instant. Think also of personal life, where the same principle rules. A confession of love delivered in hesitation loses its power. The same words spoken firmly in a 5-second burst can bind someone's heart. An apology drawn out into explanations becomes weak. One look of sincerity delivered in seconds carries more weight than hours of justification. Even in daily encounters, it is the flash of courage, the sudden gesture of boldness, the unexpected silence that imprints itself on memory. People rarely recall the whole conversation, but they remember how they felt in that moment. Machiavelli knew that rulers are not remembered for their consistency, but for their decisive moments, their gestures of command, their sudden flashes of ruthlessness or magnanimity. Thus, the 5-second hypnosis trick is not an invention of modern psychology, but a rediscovery of an old truth. Influence is not about duration, but about precision. The lion kills not by prolonging the chase, but by striking at the exact second when the prey falters. The fox escapes not by endless running, but by choosing the instant to dart into the shadows. The prince likewise survives not by ruling endlessly with kindness or cruelty, but by knowing the precise moments to reveal one or the other. Too much hesitation invites contempt. Too much predictability invites rebellion. But the right action, timed in seconds, makes him appear both inevitable and untouchable. The danger lies in misusing this principle. If one attempts to seize power in the wrong 5 seconds, the result is ruin. A ruler who speaks too quickly before reading the room, a general who strikes before the troops are ready, a lover who confesses before trust is built, all fail because their timing was wrong. The hypnosis trick works only because it aligns with readiness. The subject must be unguarded, the crowd must be tense, the enemy must be uncertain. Seizing those 5 seconds requires perception, patience, and discipline. Machiavelli would warn that the greatest skill of a ruler is not only in acting but in waiting for the right instant to act. Impatience is as fatal as indecision. So the lesson remains. 5 seconds can bend a will forever, but only if wielded by one who understands the art of human weakness. The masses want to believe they choose freely, yet in truth their choices are born of impressions, gestures, and images that last mere moments. The ruler who captures those moments commands their fate, while the one who speaks after the moment passes is left shouting into the void. The 5-second hypnosis trick is therefore not a trick at all, but the essence of politics, power, and persuasion, the mastery of timing, the seizing of opportunity, the bending of others before they even realize it has happened. And when life itself is examined, it becomes clear that destinies are made and destroyed in precisely such moments. A duel is decided by the speed of a strike. A war is lost because of 5 seconds of hesitation and retreat. A career is ended by 5 seconds of indiscretion caught on display. A revolution begins with 5 seconds of defiance shouted in a square. Humanity builds its myths and legends around such flashes because they are not accidents. They are the very currency of power. The one who controls them shapes history. The one who ignores them is forgotten. Machiavelli would conclude, then, that the wise do not seek to extend influence over long stretches of time but sharpen it into decisive moments, where a life can be redirected, a crowd controlled, or a kingdom secured. For in the end, power is not a river flowing slowly across centuries, but a series of lightning strikes, each lasting no more than a few seconds, but bright enough to change the world forever.